Hello everybody, this is Bradley Pettie. I'm giving you an update on the Nazarene Bible College. I just completed a class called Christian Service, and I really enjoyed the class. It has a lot of useful tools for you. One of the things is going to help you recognize your calling, your vocational calling, your leadership style. It kind of gives you a breakdown on the financial aspect of like how much pastors get paid and stuff like that. I'm not too worried about that. I plan to continue to work and spread the word, and unless God has different plans. So has a few questions, 6 questions for the church by Reggie McNeil. That's a really cool book. Gets you to think outside the box, kind of what's happened to the church, what we need to do to bounce back. So the first textbook that you will read is called Courage and Calling, Embracing Your God-Given Potential by Gordon T. Smith. Right here, this helps you to recognize your vocational calling and gives you a better definition of the difference between your vocational calling and your work, your duties and roles as a parent, and instant issues that come up every day that you have to take care of, flat tires, kids have ball games, stuff like that. Really interesting book. I got a lot out of this. One of the best lectures that I got out of this it's called An Address to the Clergy by John Wesley. And when I read this thing right here, if you guys have access to it or you can find it online or anything, just read through this, and man, it's just like, when you think that you're on fire and then you read something like this, how much more deeper you could get in the word, how much more dedication we could put into spreading the gospel and taking it more serious. You know, it's a serious thing when God calls you into ministry, and not to take it for granted and treat it with respect and educate yourself and go 100% into it. And man, this right here, if you guys get a chance, read it. An Address to the Clergy by John Wesley. And one of my favorite things about this whole class was this book right here, The Present Future. 6 Tough Questions for the Church by Reggie McNeil. And I did an iPod interview a couple weeks ago when I was ministering out at Prospect Lake in Colorado Springs. I did an iPod interview and I quoted this book. And it's very interesting when he starts talking about the difference between churchianity and Christianity, and how a lot of the churches nowadays are worshiping and practicing churchianity versus Christianity. And it talks about how the churches took on a refuge role, like they were starting to lose members and stuff, and the church being like a church club and members only, exclusive, and just kind of like, we're losing numbers, so let's hunker down and let's keep what we have. Let's not really take that risk, and let's not really go out and expand ourselves, something like that. And he talks about the church needs to start playing to win, like seriously to win, when recently we just been playing not to lose. And I don't know if that makes sense to you guys or not, but it does to me. So this book was really a blessing right here. Reggie McNeil, awesome book, and I plan to read it again, and this is going to go on a special place in my library. I noticed since I've been getting more into ministry, my library has really just expanded. I got to buy some more bookshelves and stuff because I have so many good resources and books, and thankful that my pastor gives me them. But this class right here, Christian Service, it's an awesome class. It helps you to recognize your call. There's different kinds of calls. Like, are you a fisherman? Are you a pastor? Are you a evangelist? You'll do a bunch of spiritual gift inventories, and they'll help you to recognize kind of what you are. I don't want to get too much into them. And then also your leadership style. Like, you'll do some inventories and stuff that'll help you recognize what kind of leader are you. Are you like a visionary leader, or are you more of a management type of leader, and just kind of where your role is in the church and where you could benefit the kingdom of heaven or the kingdom most. And I really think that that's cool. Those are good things to know. That way we can focus more, and it tells you so we can focus more on people's strengths and don't linger on their weaknesses, because if you're lingering on their weaknesses, you're just kind of beating them up. Like we've always heard, like, we're only as strong as our weakest link, and that we need to develop our weaknesses. But in reality, in this class, what it taught me was we need to find our strengths, our vocational calling, our leadership styles, and we need to use those, and we need to maximize those things and maximize them. And then your weaknesses, you need to find ways to manage them. So instead of taking time and energy away from developing your weaknesses more, you can just manage them while you concentrate on building and developing your spiritual gifts. And the only way to develop your spiritual gifts, like I've noticed over the past 3 years or so, the more that I've been out evangelizing, the more that I've been out pavement preaching, the easier it gets, and the more God uses me, and the more knowledge that I retain. And it's just like it's developing, it's growing. You have to use your gifts if you want them to grow. That was one of the main things that I got out of this class. But I recommend that you guys read this book, The Present Future by Reggie McNeil. And if you guys get a chance, I recommend that you read this, An Address to the Clergy by John Wesley. And wow, just an eye-opener. These two things right here is the most that I got out of the class, and that I recommend to you guys to read. If you guys have any questions about the class, you want me to get further into detail, just post them in the comments below. I try not to get too far into them, but just give you something, so if you're getting ready to start the class, you can kind of know what to expect. This class, it's a little bit different. There's like one extra assignment I noticed kind of in the middle, so stay on top of things and just stay ahead always, because there's like one extra, I noticed, since versus the other classes, there's like one extra assignment kind of in the middle. So you want to be prepared and maybe work a day ahead. That's what I always do with my classes. I try to stay at least a day ahead in my assignments. So this one, it's not as challenging in some classes, and you're learning a lot. But that one little extra assignment might throw you off. So be ready for that. So work ahead, stay ahead. Really put your heart into it, and just recognize what your gifts is, your leadership style is, and then take what Reggie McNeil says in this book about churchianity versus Christianity, and the church needs to be more of a resource center for their communities versus just a refuge center, and the church needs to be less like a clubhouse, like we're Christians and you have to be Christian to come into the church, and we need to be more of an outreach center where we go out and we invite people to church and welcome them in and stuff like that. So very, very eye-opening book. That's all I really have for you guys. Please, if you want more details, just contact me or whatever. Thank you guys, and God bless you guys. Have a great day.